Good morning. Welcome back to Sinister Sunrise. I'm Sarah.
I'm Morgan.
I'm Erin.
And today, as always, we're going to talk about things that interest us, which are ghosts, true crime, and the human mind. Yeah, we talk about all that stuff. Basically, everything you should talk about in a first date is what we talk about. Which also, I was thinking, how did we start talking about any of this stuff? Because we've known each other now, for anyone at home, for 5 years. Does that sound right? College?
Yeah, 4 or 5, yeah.
I've been dating Clave for 5, so...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, 4 years.
I met you right before, right?
Because I was sophomore year, so yeah.
But I didn't even know you guys like spooky stuff until a point in time.
I think it was like, you know what? It was probably our good friend, Brooke, who said, hey guys, want to watch a scary movie? And everyone else was like, yeah! And I was like, no, I don't watch scary movies, but I do love a good true life ghost story. And then it was like, boom.
Fair enough. For everyone at home, okay, so you're in a sorority. Fun fact, they don't let you talk about that stuff in recruitment, so I know it had to take us a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You can talk about the 5 Bs.
No, you can't.
Or you can't talk about the 5 Bs. What is it? It's booze,
boobies,
Bible.
5 Ps? No,
it's
5
B as in
Bs.
boy, right? It's Bama, so politics, booze, boys,
bodies.
I don't think it's bodies.
Well, it's not boobies. You can't, like body image stuff. Maybe?
Because we can't talk about other sororities either.
Bashing. I don't think that's it, but
we're going to get back to you on that. Yeah. Anyway. So, how'd everyone sleep this week? Anyone have any dreams? Morgan, your eyes are lighting up.
Well, Miss Sarah, I certainly did. And I normally don't have dreams.
Oh.
Like, or I just like, I feel like I dreamt a lot more when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
But this weekend, I had 2. One was about a pet store. Shocking. For everyone at home, I have 10 animals.
What animal did you get this time?
I was trying to get an English bulldog puppy.
Oh.
Well, originally it was it's a complicated story.
Can we make this come true?
Yeah.
We need a pet.
Yes, you need another dog.
We need a podcast pet.
Podcast pet.
Oh. We can call it Cinny.
Well, originally, I was at this pet store to get a snake. So, like, that's a little bit sinister. But, no, so, like, and my aunt was working at this pet store and was like, hey, you and your sister, your birthdays are coming up. Or is this not? But in my dream, it was.
Why not?
And she was like, I'm going to let you get whatever pet you want in the store. And I was like, okay, well, I think we both have been wanting a snake. So she, like, hands me this snake, but it was, like, the size of a toothpick. And it was just, like, squiggling around in my hand. And I was like, well, this is a stupid pet ever. So I, like, put it back in its cage.
And then the easiest thing to take care of.
Right,
that
whatever.
Sounds like my kind of pet.
It's a worm.
It kind of was.
If you ever lost it, you never find it.
Actually, I don't want that pet.
Right.
Where would it be? Not knowing, like, it could be anywhere.
But what if it, like, never grew, though? Like, if it just stayed there?
That's almost just as terrifying.
I don't think so.
What if it packs enough venom to still kill you?
Why would you get a venomous snake?
It's your dream.
So then...
Sorry. We're taking over.
Sorry. You weren't there.
It's okay. So then she, like, tries to hand me, like, a little bit bigger snake, and, like, it's, like, trying to bite me, but its mouth is so little that it can't. And I was like, well, I don't want a snake that's gonna keep biting me. Who knows, man? Anything's possible. The dream was like a little bit detailed.
Okay.
Well, then she like tries to hand me like a big snake, like a I don't know, a ball python.
Okay.
Like, you know, like a foot long.
Ooh.
And I'm just kind of like, and she like foot long sub, and like I'm just holding it, and like she's like, you don't look very comfortable, and I was like, I thought I wanted a snake, but maybe I don't, and she's just like, well, you can get anything in the store, and I was like, oh, anything? I want a cat. Well, then I go up to this tank full of cats, and yes, it was a tank, like Schmetland. It was like that, like the sliding glass doors, tanks.
I know that was a bad place, but that was the funnest place.
It was the funnest place ever.
I know it's not good, but to 10-year-old Sarah in the mall.
Right. Mm-hmm. Well, all these kittens are so cute, and they're like all kind of like speckly and cute, and I'm like trying to grab them, and I look at the price tag, and it's like $250, and I'm like, $250 for a cat? $250, and my aunt's like, I don't know if I can get you that, and I was like, ugh. All right, so then
you said
anything. So then I'm like, I go back to the back of the store, and then there's the 2 tanks like stacked above each other, and I look at the bottom one, and there's bunnies, and I was like, hell yeah, I want a freaking bunny, and like before I can even slide the door open, bam, the price tag's in my face, $200, and I'm like, bruh, I cannot spend $200 on a bunny. And my aunt's like,
how expensive bunnies actually are.
I think pricey, actually.
Are they really?
It depends on the bunny, I think. Like,
because Brooke and I looked at getting one in our last apartment.
Did you really?
Because he wanted a fat, floppy-eared bunny.
Like, some of them are just so mean. Like, they look cute on the outside, but on the inside, they're just
why you gotta get a baby and raise it.
Snap at you.
Get to raise it from a little baby.
Clavin, his aunt, not to be off topic again, but his aunt has one, and this thing is feisty. It's got the person, like, it won't bite you, it's not mean, but, like, if you get too close to it, it gets up on the back legs and just pretends to pass out.
What?
Until you walk away, and then it's like, ha, 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 ha. runs away.
Oh, that's wild.
Likes to play games.
Like, like a fainting goat, but a fainting bunny?
Basically.
Whoa.
But it's never really fainting. Like, I think it just lays down. Like, it's playing possum.
Yeah.
Damn.
Mm-hmm.
I just
Okay,
wanna-
that's pretty cool.
Just
That
want to
funny.
pet you.
No.
Jeez.
Basically, she's the extreme introvert.
Of a bunny.
Yes.
Well, so then I don't even hold the bunnies because I didn't want to get excited. My aunt's like,
Yeah.
yeah, those are kind of pricey. And then the tank above them, I see English Bulldog puppies. And the price is $100. And I'm like, ooh, that is
For
a lot
English
more.
bulldogs.
Correct.
Of course.
So then I like slide the door.
Specialize, less money.
Right? Slide the door open and they all just start tumbling, like, cause it's above my head.
Oh.
And I'm 5'9", 5'10". So they're just like falling down on me and they're like like flicking all over. Yeah, like kissing my face and I'm like, oh my God. And she's like trying to tell me their names and I'm like, I don't care, just let it happen. And they're just like falling all over me.
All of them.
Right. And there's like 2 more asleep in there and I was like, get over here, scoop them up.
Floor is lava. Get on my arm.
Yeah. Bam. Woke up. Didn't even get to take one home.
At least ended on a good note.
I say, what a
though.
great way to wake up, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just covered
A whole
in
bunch
puppies.
of
Yeah.
English bulldogs in your
At a
house.
great
Yeah.
price.
At
You can't pass that
a
up.
real steal. Well, so I mean, it's just a dream.
Mhm.
But then the dream after that, the next day,
So that was your pregame dream.
that was my pregame dream.
This is the main course.
Involves you, Sarah, and you too, Erin.
Oh, awesome.
Surprise, surprise.
I would like to thank my mother, all of you that have supported me in being in this dream.
Well, so I think we mentioned it on episode 1, maybe.
We
that
have 3 now.
my memory is fading me. That me, Morgan, I am marrying Sarah and her fiance. So it's day of wedding.
She's our officiant.
Yeah.
We're not in like a polygamous 3
Oh,
man.
no.
Just in case, if you do,
I can see how that would
I am
yeah.
I am joining those 2 in holy matrimony. I am the official officiant.
Yeah.
Yeah, but good
I
job.
would love to marry you, but we
Oh.
live in Missouri, and I don't have enough money for all those weddings.
Maybe someday. But in my dream, we had not rehearsed. It is day of, and that is when we are having the practice, okay? We're in this, like...
Sounds like what something we would do.
Yeah.
It is this, like, log
Just roll with
cabin. Yeah. It's this, like, log cabin room.
Okay.
And your family is all in these chairs, like, I'm, like, looking out at them. And you hand me a binder, and you're like, okay, here's what you're reading. And I'm like, what? Like, today's the day? And you were like, yeah, get it right. And I was like, oh, Jesus. So I opened the binder to the first page, and the entire binder is written like Instagram posts.
What?
There are pictures of you, not you and Andrew, just you, and the captions are what you want me to read. And I'm like,
Britney Spears lyrics.
Yeah,
Because I would die.
literally, I wish.
I'm just saying.
It was
She's so lucky
lucky.
she's a bride.
But, no. It was stuff like, remember when I looked this good 10 years ago, blah, 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 skipping.
Oh.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, Sarah, I cannot read this. And you're like, oh, you're gonna read it. And then, like, all the bridesmaids are, but, like, on the side of me, and they're all just, like, looking at me like, yeah, get it right. And I'm
What
like,
are we in Mean
oh
Girls?
my
like, literally, I was like, what is happening? And then all of a sudden, I, like, kept trying to read it, and it was just going bad. And then I, like, blinked, and I'm at the wedding, and it is happening, and I'm like,
I am so sorry.
and I start to go off script, and you had daggers coming out of your eyes, and you were like, that's not the binder. And I'm like, no!
Sounds just like me.
Yeah, totally.
You know what? Now that you mention it, I do have a binder of Instagram posts for you. I'm glad you brought that up. Just kidding. Absolutely.
My worst nightmare. But yeah, so all in all, that's kind of just how the dream just tapered off. But it was the most stressed I've ever felt in a dream in a very long time. And I will tell you, in all reality, I'm not stressed at all for the big day.
Do you think maybe subconsciously you're a little nervous?
Maybe it's because, like, it's far away, but yet I'm a planner.
Maybe when it gets closer.
And I haven't
Yeah.
given you any Instagram posts to read yet.
Right, you haven't given me any posts to read, and I'm stressing. I need those posts, girl.
Okay.
Get on
I
it.
want you to say I feel fancier than beef jerky in a ball gown. That's number 1.
Okay.
Through and through.
On it.
Thank
Step
you.
number 1.
Yes.
Writing down.
Okay.
2,
We'll
if there's not
appreciate
at
it.
least 3 Britney Spears quotes, I walk.
See that? Maybe, like, subconsciously I'm, like, stressed because I don't know if you want it to be silly or you want it to be serious. Because I can do either. I think that's why I was, like,
Well,
so
Maybe a
torn.
mix of both.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I don't know.
I mean, I've been stressed about making sure I call your fiance the right name, so.
But anyway, I'm sorry you're so stressed.
Hey, real life I'm not, so it's alright.
Okay.
Cool.
Well, I'm not going to be a bridezilla, I don't think.
It's okay if you are. You need to be a
haven't
little
been.
bit. It's all about you, honey.
Yeah. Like a little assertive, but
Assertive. That's a better word.
One of my old bosses made me take a class on that.
being assertive.
Because I'm too passive. She was like, you need to take an assertive communication class.
Like, how did that work? Like online? Like in
No, I
person?
had to go in class.
Did they like pay for it? Like, did you
Yeah.
have to? Oh, cool.
But it felt weird because I was like, "Hi, I'm a weenie. I belong to Weenie Hut Junior. Please let me know how to say the N-O word."
Yeah.
It went fine.
Okay.
And then I came back and she's like, "And now you're my bitch again." Well, what's the point?
Yeah.
Nah.
Ugh.
But yeah, so I've taken courses in that. I'll put it to good use.
I'm sure.
Very cool.
Erin, any dreams from you?
I don't know. I feel like ever since we started this podcast, my dreams have just disappeared. Like, I know I dreamt a little bit of something last night, but I can't remember. It was like I was in the dream, but then a different version of me was in the dream, but like
Okay,
a
that's
cooler,
cool.
more badass version. I don't know what was going
How
on.
is
And
that
I was like talking. I don't know.
Second that
I
comment.
can't remember what we were doing, but we were like talking to each other, and I'm like, wait,
Whoa.
you're me.
You
I
were
don't
talking
know.
to you?
To yourself?
Yeah.
You were
Erin,
like the
that's
dark hood, what's that green guy? Where it's like, don't eat the pie. Eat the pie.
Oh, the little Kermit guy?
Kermit.
Kermit!
Like,
You're Dark Kermit!
Dark Kermit.
I don't know. It was weird.
I'm making a meme out of you.
So it was that. And
I'll
then
make a meme.
last
Make a
week,
meme.
I had like kind of a scary dream. I don't know. It was like a nightmare, but I really don't have nightmares anymore to where I'm like, I freak out. So
Yeah.
I really didn't. I feel like in my head, I know it's a nightmare, and I'm like, oh, let's just get this over with. So
See, and yet she says she's not a badass. Okay. Who? I can't do that in my sleep.
There was
I get
some
over it.
creepy old lady like trying to kill us.
Oh,
She
so
killed you.
casual.
Oh,
I think you were
that's
in it. I
great.
can't remember
That's
Lauren,
great.
if you were in it, but there were some people that I always
If I wasn't, I'm not offended for this one. I think we'll sit this one out.
Oh, because you
So
didn't die
far-
first? Uh-huh.
Yeah, those are the only ones I remember. I literally have a sleep journal now, and I'm like, nothing's in it
It's
because I
there's too
can't
much
remember.
pressure now.
Yeah.
Exactly. I'm like, I need to dream something cool, and then it's nothing. So I'm letting you down. I'm very sorry.
It's okay because actually, a friend of the show, Ronnie, she wrote in a dream for us to analyze. So yes, thank you, Miss Ronnie. Also, just so you guys know, I am fully aware. We are all aware. We are not licensed psychologists or
Not at all.
dream experts.
Not.
We just barely do research for the show. So
Yeah.
This is our take
yes,
on things.
yes.
Sarah is the most certified out of all of us,
And that's a
meaning
loose word.
BA psychology. That's pretty good. That's a lot, though.
I'm a badass
You took
in
classes.
psychology.
She's a BA in psychology. But yeah.
I think I just took a basic psychology course, so that's about it.
Well,
That's all I know.
I took AP Psych in high school, and
Very
I
cool.
didn't get the credit.
Oh.
So then I retook the class.
Sucks.
So I've retaken the class twice. So I'm very good at the very basics.
Oh,
And by very good, I mean if I will nod along to whatever you say.
good thing this is a visual podcast.
Oh, yes.
Okay, but just so you know, yeah, I researched a little bit, I dream cards and everything, but Ronnie at home, don't take this for anything more than just fun. So she writes, and it's a pretty short dream, but I found it pretty entertaining. She was out one night and she met the love of her life. His name was Walt,
Oh,
and she had never seen him before, but he looked a bit like the skateboarder Ryan Sheckler.
okay.
Do you remember him?
I don't know.
I
He was
wanna-
big when you were like in 6th grade.
Okay, I was going to say, I want to say
like
yes.
a pro skateboarder?
Yes.
Okay.
And his
yeah,
name is
show me a picture.
Walt.
In her dream, his name was Walt, and she
But
said,
he looks like this guy.
yes. And we can post a picture of him on our Instagram so you all at home can see too.
Oh, God.
So keep in mind, he was a really big deal when you were like in 6th grade.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, he looks super familiar.
6th grade Morgan would have been on that. Yeah.
Because he had the skater boy hair in like 6th, 7th grade.
Okay.
I remember in my J14, I was like, ooh, it's Ryan!
You know who he kind of looks like? The dad from Teen Mom.
No.
He kind of does with Caitlin. Caitlin and what's his face?
Well, I liked him before.
I'm sorry.
Kind of looks like a brunette Erin.
Now we're on the right
Okay,
track.
that's better. Okay, yeah.
Here was him back in his prime.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
Mm.
damn. All right.
Okay.
So Ryan, if you're not cool with it, I'm posting a picture.
So
please let me
far,
know.
so far, this stream's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she said
Okay.
they talked about life. They had really good talks. And that was really it. But she was woke up like, who is this man? So I did a little research on Ronnie. It's not uncommon to dream of someone you have never met. According to dreamstop.com, which sounds like GameStop, but I thought it was funny, being in love in a dream shows that there could be an overwhelming joy in your waking life, which I would love to believe is me. I am a joy. But no, I do hope that's true for you because that's awesome. And then to be in love with a stranger, more specifically, even if you don't feel like it's a stranger in your dream, it just means that you're in a new situation in life, or maybe there are things in yourself that you're just now discovering. And basically, it just shows that you're opening up to old feelings that you haven't allowed yourself to feel in a while. Which, now that I've seen Ryan Sheckler, you should definitely open yourself up to those feelings, girlfriend.
Find your, what is it, Walt?
Walt.
Find that
Find
Walt.
your Walt.
I believe Walt/Ryan is out there. And he's waiting for you.
Yes,
So.
he is.
Thanks, Ronnie.
That's awesome.
Okay. Anything else new with you guys? That was short and sweet.
No.
No? No housekeeping?
No housekeeping.
I don't believe so.
God, if only I could say that about the chores in my own house.
Yeah.
Okay. Who's ready about the game of chance this week?
Me.
Okay, it was my turn to pick, and I chose what can only be called Dice Derby.
Ooh.
I am ready.
It's a very intense dice rolling game. Basically, my fiance got a felt dice rolling mat for Christmas, and we're all going to roll dice at the same time. We have 3 sets of 6-sided dice, and the highest number wins. Is everyone ready?
Holla holla.
Yeah.
Okay, Erin, you're getting red.
Okay, thank you.
Colax, you're getting the dreamy green one. And I get green glitter.
Okay, wait, are we doing this all at the same time?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
1, 2, 3.
Roll. 4, 3, 1. I win. I always win. Yeah.
So it's gonna go Sarah,
Yes.
Erin, me, Morgan.
Okay. Yes. All right. Thanks, guys.
All right, cool.
Okay. So I'm up first, and we're talking about. Any guesses?
The human mind.
The human mind. We're talking about night terrors.
Ah, Jesus.
Because I thought, why go to nightmares when we can just skip straight ahead to the terror?
Thank
and I'm
you.
going to be enunciating terror a lot just because there's a lot of comparisons between nightmares and night, or they're also called sleep terrors. My English teacher should be very happy. I am talking slow and pronunciating for you guys. I can't promise that every time, but this one I know I need to. Okay, so before I get started, do either of you have any experience with night terrors?
I sure do.
Yes, didn't you have a babysitting thing?
I did. I was babysitting my cousin.
Okay.
Had no idea what night terrors were.
Thank you for enunciating.
You're welcome. I didn't know what that was. And my aunt's like, okay, so like, here's the 2 kids. And I'm like, all right, cool. Like, put pizza in the oven, put them to bed at 8. Good to go.
I love babysitting.
I love babysitting. And she goes, oh, and by the way, he has night terrors. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm like watching her face for like, am I scared? Do I worry? And she's like, so if you hear him crying or screaming in the middle of the night, just go in there and check out. What?
Or convulsing and praising to Satan.
All right, like, okay. So
my God.
Yeah, so she's like, and if he's just like, she goes, his eyes might be open. What? I'm sitting here like, my little 15-year-old self is like, what the hell? She goes, so we just, if it's really bad, just pick him up and take him outside. And I'm like, what? She's like, well, the cold air will wake him up. And I'm like, okay. So I'm sitting there praising whatever is above me, like, please, Lord, don't let this child do any of this weird stuff. And it starts.
Of course it starts.
Like, right after, like, 10:45-ish. And I hear the crying, and I'm like, oh, please, like, self-soothe, self-soothe.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it's just, like, bloody murder, screaming, crying, and I'm like, Jesus H.
Terrifying.
So I open the door, and he is sitting up in bed, looking at me with his eyes open. So I'm like, oh, hello, are you awake? And he's just crying. And I'm like, so his eyes are open, and he is asleep. I'm scared. I'm like, pissing myself. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta scoop him up. So I walk in, I scoop him up, and he, like, there's no response. Like, he doesn't, like, lean into me or anything like that, which I thought was kind of interesting. Like, he didn't feel me picking him up.
He's not, like, registering you at all?
Yeah, like, you know, like, when you were a kid and you fell back, like, you were asleep in the car, even though you were, like, dead asleep, you kind of, like, wrapped your arms around your parents and they scooped you up. Like, you know, you kind of, like, leaned into them. None of that. He was, like, kind of almost rigid. So I, like, scooped him up, slid open the back door, and just, like, held him on the deck. And then finally he was, like, stopped crying, and I was like, okay, and his eyes were open, and then bam, they closed, and he was like, okay, and like rolled over and like in my arms, and I was like,
that's a really good example.
It worked.
Yeah,
terrifying. So
at least you were warned though. Like, could you imagine if like you had no warning at all and you just heard bloody murder screaming coming from the room?
I don't know how your aunt finds babysitters because I would be terrified. Like, yet again, hey.
Hence the word aunt, family.
Oh yeah. You don't got a choice.
Yeah. So I plopped that little child demon back into bed. And
she had a little extra tip for your.
They were like, was he any trouble? I was like, oh, and yeah, like he definitely had an attack. And they're like, oh, sorry. Thanks, Auntie. So yeah, that's my experience.
Erin, about yourself, anything?
I don't know if I've had night terrors. I know I've like sleepwalked before.
Oh, okay. We'll tell you that story because I'm gonna. Do that later.
Yeah, I've had that. I don't think I've ever had like blood. I mean, I know I've like screamed after a nightmare, but I don't think it's ever been like, you know, my mom or dad's like trying to shake me awake, like they can't wake me up, you know?
Terror.
Yeah,
that we speak of.
I think just like typical nightmares when I was a child, and then
fair.
at some point I really didn't. I mean, I get them every once in a while, but not like I used to get them when I was a kid. But I don't think they were night terrors.
Okay, makes sense. I actually asked my parents this weekend, like, hey. Real cash, have I ever had a night terror? And my mom's like, oh, I don't know what that is, Sarah. So probably not. No. Just really weird dreams. You're a weird dreamer. So I'm glad none of us are affected. Fun fact, they can't figure out why. And by they, I mean the first couple pages of Google, and whatever I research can't figure out why. I think maybe someone out there can. If you have, thank you for your work. It's genetic.
Oh.
Or maybe genetic's not the right word, but if your mom had it, you're more likely to have it.
Okay.
They don't know why, they don't know what gene it is, but good thing our kids are probably safe.
It's kind of like hereditary.
We love the movie Hereditary.
Okay, whoa. We and love is a very...
I love Hereditary.
Are very interested in the movie Hereditary.
That movie screwed me up.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It makes you feel like life is going to end.
A bit of my soul crumbled off that evening, like 100%.
Whenever I like something weird, I will research it so much because then I want to know, like, why did this happen? Like, I can't just be scared. I have to be scared out of my mind.
Yeah. Looking up, like, different articles about it.
Yes.
Like, why was this even made?
Was there anything in the shadows? Is it based on
Mhm.
a story? Is it based 1% on a story? Whose story? So, anyway, night terrors. That movie could have caused night terrors, but we're probably a little too old. So, let's pretend like I am in 4th grade giving a presentation. Night terrors, what are they? That's literally her at my notes. Well, they sound terrifying for everyone involved. To put it simply, it's just a sudden reaction to fear when someone is moving from one cycle of sleep to the next.
Ooh.
And if you guys are feeling smart this morning, I hope y'all have now had your coffee. Because the cup of spooks is coming your way. It's a disorder caused by over-arousal of your central nervous system and by a single misfiring of the brain during sleep that causes feelings of fear, dread, and terror. Hence, night terror. Terror. So someone experiencing a night terror is going to feel like they are literally under attack while sleeping. And this is going to prompt them to act just like they would if they were awake and under attack. So they're going to fight or flight. If they're fighting, they're going to throw objects. They're going to shout at invisible people, scream, and they may even mistake the innocent person for the attacker. And Morgan, kind of like you were saying, this is the hardest one for parents and loved ones because they can't console the person that's experiencing this. Like they may even think you're the one causing all the fear. So just on a mental level, it's really hard to watch them like be terrified and you can't do anything.
So like I got lucky that he didn't think I was the attacker.
Yeah, like he didn't hit you or anything.
Yeah, like he was screaming at something, but luckily it wasn't you.
Yeah.
But even if you thought it was you, it's scary either way. Because think of like when a kid's crying, you want to help, and you physically can't. There's nothing you can do. You can't really wake them up. It's not safe to wake them up.
Yeah. I could scoop, but I couldn't do anything else.
You can scoop them, but you can't wake them. So yeah, that's one. Or they can flight. They can fly. Peter Pan can fly. They'll run away through doors. They'll even jump out of windows. They may try to create barricades, protect their family members. They will even drag their family members out of bed sometimes.
Okay. No.
So if you're looking for birth control, this may be it.
Yeah.
Are you experiencing a child dragging you out of bed? Maybe that's not for you. Oh God, that sounds so scary. I could not. I'm a light sleeper anyway, so if anyone even crept in my room, get out of here. So during these sleep terror episodes, it's also commonly reported that these people have superhuman qualities where they can move faster, lift heavier objects they wouldn't normally be able to do in waking life, which yet again, when I was researching, I didn't find a why, but I didn't look into too much like sciencey stuff, more just like a rough overlay of everything because I don't want to get too in the nitty gritty, but I personally think, yet again, I'm not a psychologist, I've not studied this personally, it's got to be like about your adrenaline, right? So you're terrified. When you're terrified in real life, you have more strength.
Yeah.
Moms can lift the cars and all that. So.
Yeah. They're trying to save their kids or family members.
Yes. Yeah. Which that's sometimes what they think they're dreaming about. So
maybe it's the adrenaline. Like this is me just going off here.
Yeah, we're
because like you said earlier, it was a misfire. So that to me sounds quick. So maybe it's like that is what triggers it, and then like your adrenaline is what causes it to stay.
I'm glad you used the word trigger. Woo! Okay, I'm gonna get there in a minute. But Erin, you mentioned sleepwalking earlier. Night terrors are also linked to sleepwalking. For this flight reason, those reactions have to be physical to happen. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times when they're like escaping, they're up, they're moving, just like sleepwalking. But also like sleepwalking, even though they're stronger, supposedly they move faster, they're also very clumsy. I mean, they are still sleeping. So if there's a pillow there that wasn't there before, they're gonna trip on it.
Okay.
And they are more likely to hurt themselves than others.
I freaking bet.
Yeah.
Tripping over anything.
Yes. Dang. Yes, it is very scary, mostly for everyone else around the person having the night terror, because night terrors are always forgotten by the next day. Majority of the sufferers are kids, which is so sad, my little heart. Yeah. There are some rare cases of adults, but mostly it's kids. And it's not really uncommon. It's not a big deal if kids have them. It's not like they're messed up or anything. Like I mentioned earlier, it can be a genetic condition that runs in families. It's a delay in the central nervous system, which they do grow out of over time. It is possible, like I said, though, for adults to have it, which I'll talk about that in a minute, but it's just as terrifying.
So, like, if adults have it, did they also have it when they were kids? I don't know if
Probably.
you know. So it can still go on till adulthood. But
Yes.
usually at some point,
Yes.
the child
You're supposed to
stop-
grow out of
grow
it.
out of it. Okay.
So sleep terrors, we kind of put them with nightmares just because we want to, but that isn't the way you should. They're not similar, really. So nightmares, as you kind of talked about before, they're well-developed plot. Even if it doesn't make sense, there's still a plot, and it's going to slowly lead people into scarier and scarier circumstances. Night terrors, they happen in an instant. Like I said, it's a misfire. And not to get too into the weeds here on sleep cycles, but most people know you do have like REM sleep cycles throughout the night. So where these happen in your cycles are different, and that's why you can remember some and why you can't remember night terrors.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, so night terrors happen about 2 to 3 hours after the affected person has fallen asleep. And it is usually when someone is moving from the deepest stage of your non-REM sleep cycle to a lighter REM sleep.
Okay.
So for most people like you and I, and you, you, all of us, it's a smooth transition. You don't even notice it. But for someone experiencing that night terror, because of that single misfire, it's going to cause them to feel upset and frightened, leading to the crazy responses we know are night terror. So with that in mind, what is the worst nightmare you guys have ever had? Yes, mare like a horse.
Honestly, I don't know. Because I feel like I had a lot. I had worse nightmares when I was a kid.
Yeah.
But now if I have a nightmare, like I said before, I usually know kind of like,
Which is so
like I know how
you can just do that.
Yeah,
Most
like I
people
know
are
how
trained.
it's turning into scary and scary situation, but it doesn't affect me as much. Like I'm like, oh, I woke up, I'll watch like a little YouTube video and then go back to sleep to kind of like not fall back, not fall back asleep and go right back into the nightmare, because that happens sometimes. Have you guys ever had that where you like wake up from a nightmare and then you go back to sleep and you're right back where you started and you're like, no, this isn't
like
what I wanted to
talk
happen.
about dreams so you can lead us on how to do
No,
because
no,
I just succumb to it like, oh my god, life is ending.
Well, sometimes I'm so tired that I'm just like, oh, I can't.
I just
Whatever
don't
happens,
know.
happens.
I just don't know. Like I don't have any control. I feel like whenever I have a nightmare, some dreams I feel like people are like, oh, I can tell myself I can fly. Okay, I have zero
It's not like
control.
lucid dreaming.
Yes, and I think that takes practice. Unless you're Erin Allen.
Yeah,
no, that's. I'm not saying I can change. I'm not saying I can change my dream. No, I'm just saying like I'm. I guess aware. I'm like, oh, this is supposed to be scary. Like I'm never like too freaked out. Like when I wake up, I'm like, oh, that was scary.
Erin Allen, aware in all dreams.
That's gonna be your movie poster. Aware.
Yes.
No, see, I just go through it like, this is it. This is what we're living in now. This is the life we've chosen.
Yeah. I've had one dream that was again, bits and pieces.
Okay.
But I guess that was supposed to be kind of creepy, and then I actually like fought back. Like,
of course you did.
But that never usually happens. I don't like. It was like a big group of us trying to run away from like I can't remember if it was even one person or a couple people that were like trying to murder us. I don't know why, but
so casual.
It is what it is. And usually, like some dreams, I'm like I can't do anything. Like I want to run, I can't run.
Okay.
I
hate those.
I know where like your brain's just like, oh come on, I have to get out of here. But then in the dream, you're just like la di da di da. But yeah, so in that one, I was like fighting back, and I'm like, this never happens. I don't know what's going on.
Whenever I try to fight back in dreams, it's so slow motion. I'm mad at my own fist.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
I
what
have
did
a lot
we
of
have
those
for
slow
breakfast?
mo
Bricks.
Yeah, I've had a lot of those slow-mo dreams where I want to do something fast and it's not.
Which I'll probably look into those in a later episode because that seems to be like pretty common. Myself and
I've had
you.
a ton of those.
They're just frustrating. What about you, Erin? What about you, Morgan?
Oh, spookiest dream? Okay, well, one is really long, so we'll save that for another day. It involves aliens. Ooh. But the
aliens freak me out.
Yeah. So the shortest, scariest dream I've had. I know it sounds really dumb, but I think it's because I watched the not live action, but the Scooby Doo with the live people. I think I watched
with Freddie Prinze.
Yes,
the good Prinze.
I watched that a little too much, and if you all have seen it, there's one.
The first one or the second one?
Yes.
Which one? Or both?
Are they on an island?
I think it's the first one with the big giant globby thing, that
Ooh,
orange
like
glowy
the opening scene. No,
he's like made of lava, I think. Or
okay,
like
I think that's the island one.
Okay, regardless of it is.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's
just
it's that guy.
This is imperative to me knowing. Yes. Okay.
He is chasing me.
Oh.
Like, and I've never really had like what you guys are talking about, like the slow punches and things like that, except in this dream. And it wasn't my body like not moving. Like I'm running from the sky, right? And I'm running in and out of a house, and he's getting bigger and bigger and chasing me. And at one point, it's so weird. I'm on the street my dad lives on.
Okay.
Like I could just tell that's where I am, but that's not the house I was in. But I'm right underneath this like specific street light, and I'm running, and I stop and like my feet are glued to the concrete. So it's like not even it's like my body can do it. It's trying, but like it's stuck. And then the guy, like the big lava thing is like, raw, and like jumps down and like swallows me whole. And then I wake up. Yeah.
At least you wake up.
Yeah. Nothing worse happened.
I'm glad that's not real life for you.
Yeah, but that it just felt. I know that sounded like kind of like a lame, spooky.
Not really, because your adrenaline's going. It's scary.
That's the one where it was like the most, just too much. Just like whoa. Yeah.
No, mine was more personal, I guess. So I was over in Europe last year, and I remember I had this dream. It was nice. I was sitting crisscross applesauce on this like grassy knoll. Like you would think I was like in a meditation video.
So it started off so well.
It started off beautiful. And there's like piano playing.
Oh, wow.
And I look over and I'm a little bit younger. Obviously, I'm only a year younger, but in my dream, I'm like 10 or 12 or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 'cause I'm like, wow, look at all my leg hair. I didn't shave early. And I look up, my mom's playing like an old church piano.
Oh.
Yeah. And she's smiling, but she's my mom like from the 1990s. Like she still has bangs.
Oh.
Her fashion is very different. Not saying it's bad, Mom. It was just different. And she's playing piano, and it kind of gets darker. And I'm like, hey, like let's go get lunch now. I'm tired of this piano nonsense.
Yeah.
Girls got to eat. I'm growing. And she looks over and she's like, no, we're staying right here. Right here forever. And the piano keys start breaking, and then she's smiling at me and her teeth start breaking.
No.
Like everything's falling out. And then I'm at a funeral, and it's my mom.
Oh my God.
I don't see her. I just know it's her.
Oh, I have chills.
Yeah, and I'm sobbing in the whole dream. I'm just morose, if that's the word. Like I'm just like inconsolably crying.
Are you still like a child?
I'm an adult.
You're an adult now at this point.
And that's when I wake up. And I call my mom immediately. I was like, what are you doing? How are you doing? Are you okay? And she's like, Sarah, you're ridiculous. I'm fine. What are you doing? You're all gallivanting.
Oh my God.
She's like, you in those dreams. You got to cut that out.
Oh, I literally, my hairs in the back of my neck are like standing up.
Yeah. The whole thing was like, it started off so fine, besides the hairy legs. And then I just see her like,
teeth falling out is a whole spiral of a subject, but that probably is what that freaked me out the most. Yeah. What you just said?
Well, because it just happened in tandem with the piano, and I was having a great time over there. I don't know why I felt the need. I'm not looking into that one.
180.
I don't want to know why that happened. Sorry. Okay, so that's a nightmare. So like how it's the plots, and you can see that's actually a really good example. It steadily gets scarier and scarier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's progression.
Yes, for better or worse. Yeah. Just like marriage, there is progression. I'm looking into the eye of marriage myself. Hopefully it's not a nightmare. I'm sure it won't be. Andrew, we're fine. So imagine that's creepy in itself. But a night terror is just instant. Like basically I would be on the grassy knoll, then the teeth are out, death everywhere. Like you don't even have time to like comprehend what's going on. So that's why they freak out. So because they happen so fast and they're forgotten, luckily, I don't even want to know what they're thinking about in that moment. Most of them, like I said, they forget them. It's just scary for everyone around them. Like you, Morgan, babysitting. Yeah. Props to you. I could not do that.
Thank you.
Even now that I know what they are, I'd still be like, you're on your own.
Yeah.
The devil's got you, Bobby.
Yes.
So here are some symptoms you could see. During an episode, we'll use a child as an example because they get them most often. They may scream, cry, talk nonsensically, sit up in bed, kick, show aggravated behavior if restrained, which this all sounds like if 200 years ago I saw this, I would like, get a priest in here, he's been taken over.
Yeah.
Which makes me think, but we're not getting there yet. Their eyes could be wide open, they're sweating, breathing heavily, racing pulse, dilated pupils. So really everything you would see in The Exorcism. And then, so going forward, that was some symptoms, and I'm going to kind of talk about causes and triggers. And I don't know if you guys know the difference, but I felt really dumb and had to look it up because they're kind of using them interchangeably. Okay. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense. So, at home, if you don't know what it is, thank you, because I'm not the only one. A trigger is something that happens because you're already primed for it to happen, and then a cause is the actual reason something is happening.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just the basic thing. I didn't know that.
Thank you, ma'am. I learned.
Thank you. Thank you for class with Sarah. So, causes, which is why it would actually happen for a night terror, would be tiredness, sleep deprivation, which to me is an oxymoron because if I'm having night terror, that probably don't
You ain't
sleep
getting
well.
sleep well. Yeah, no.
Stress, travel, which may be something I should look into.
Oh.
Sleeping in new, strange places, restless leg syndrome, use of certain medications, or use of alcohol in adults. So those are like the underlying causes. And then a trigger, which because you already have these causes, could, trigger it for lack of a better word. So any type of noise, going to bed later than usual, a full bladder, and my favorite, freaking menstrual periods. Because let's blame it all on the menstrual periods.
Let's just add that to the mix.
Good God.
Dang ladies and their periods. Just cut it out. If only we could. Jesus.
Which I feel like is really interesting because you say this mostly happens with children.
Yes, but I mean, there are still some where it happens.
Yeah.
True.
I don't know.
I know there's some.
I don't know how much science is in that part of it.
Yeah. Weird.
I found this on 2 websites.
It's wild, though.
Oh, if it's on 2, then it's true.
One of them was alliknow.com. No, it wasn't. I don't know.
It is fact. We'll take it as fact.
If I wrote it down, it's fact.
Mm-hmm.
I'm perpetuating this into factual. I just blue steeled the mic, but no one can see it. So great. Okay, so not to hammer this in, but stress. So not to hammer this in, but triggers and causes. So for a night terror, the cause could be stress during the day. And then because someone's already stressed, the trigger would be a loud noise or a full bladder during the night. And that's when you would see them sit up around 2 or 3 hours from sleeping.
Gotcha.
So I thought this was really funny. There's safety during episodes.
Teach me.
So a PSA for parents if their kid.
It sounds so bad.
Oh.
Okay. Here's what you can do to prevent injury during night terror episodes.
Oh,
Suggestions include locking windows, locking the front door, preventing access to stairs, using heavily padded curtains to prevent window breakages. Yes. That's really it. Basically just
Heavily padded curtains? What the heck are those?
Amazon, do you want to sponsor us?
You can type it up and
I'll
find
tell
some.
people where to find them. I think there's a market. So, some people also find it useful to install alarms on their bedroom doors so it'll alert family members when they have escaped from the bedroom during a night terror.
Oh, gosh.
This should be a movie. I don't know if it is. If it's not, I'm making it.
It's called Terror.
Terror. Okay, also, so those are all terrifying, but there are some things you can do before that. So parents, loved ones, anyone who's affected by this, you can set a regular bedtime for people, help them have a soothing routine before falling asleep, just help this person relax. Get enough sleep, which, yet again, is an oxymoron, but fatigue is a huge factor in night terrors. You can also make them feel safe in their environment. So for a child, it could be a special toy. For adults, it could be a cross above the bed. And just look at the factors, too, of why you are stressed during the day. Is there a different way you can handle them? Just like any other part of your life, stressors will follow you. And then the last thing I have, and I'm almost done, I promise, is crime and night terror. So I don't know how true this is, but it was on BBC.com. I found a story about a man who murdered his wife during a quote-unquote episode.
Oh, what?
In 2009, a UK couple, the Thompsons, sounds so quaint, were sleeping in a camper after a night of drinking, which we know can be a cause for adult night terrors. Mm-hmm. And in his sleep, Mr. Thompson applied an arm lock to his wife's neck, and he killed her.
Sorry. That reminds me. Do you guys watch Grey's Anatomy?
Not enough.
No.
Yeah. Well, it just reminds me of an episode, because in one of the episodes, one of the guys, his name's Owen.
Okay.
Literally, he was in the army, so he has, PTSD. So
that's a cause, too.
Yeah. So he, was technically still asleep and was, strangling someone and almost, choked her out. So that's just what it reminded me of. So that's really scary.
It is scary. And there's not, so he stated the dream, which I don't know. Okay, we'll get back to it in a minute. He stated the dream he was having was an intruder and he was protecting his camper like the big tough man he is. And then he awoke to find his wife dead.
Oh.
Excuse me. The courts didn't prosecute him. They stated, quote unquote, transient mental condition known as night terrors. So they didn't find him guilty. And my only bugaboo with the story that he can remember is night terror, but
I was just going to say that.
Yeah. And I don't know if that's something maybe his lawyers came up with to help him explain
you said plots. Like when we gave our examples earlier, you were like, see, all of your dreams have a plot or has a climactic moment, but night terrors is we said it, I said it, the misfire, what you said earlier, that's weird.
This is a little different for maybe adults. Because obviously kids anyway, even as a kid, I don't remember really dreams I had as a kid unless it was very impactful.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think you're guilty.
I don't. I mean, they'd been married for 40 years. They had 2 children. And by all accounts, he was actually very upset. Mr. Neath, I'm sorry. He was very upset, very remorseful. And their camper had been parked by where these badass racers would rev up their engines and kind of hot rod around, as my grandparents would say. So you can say the drinking would have been the cause. And if he already had any kind of pre-existing history, which that wasn't discussed. It was a pretty short article. And the drinking could have been a cause. And then the sound of the hot rods could have triggered it and it caused him to go
all right.
a little crazy.
Fine, I won't jump the gun to guilty yet, but
yes.
I'm a little bit suspicious.
I trust the UK people. They got it going on.
Thanks, BBC.
Yes, so thank you, BBC, for that. Like I said, I don't have a ton of details besides that's just crazy. And in conclusion, as you're never supposed to say, but be good to yourselves. Take time to relax before bed. Even if you don't have sleep disorders, our dreams can be scary, and our night terrors can scare everyone else. So take care of yourselves and everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you. Any questions, class?
No, I don't think so. That was
That was
awesome.
so informative. Thank you.
Yeah.
That's night terrors. There'll be a test at the end.
Oh, Jesus.
Erin, you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right,
this
take
one is a doozy.
Oh, boy. Hey, Erin. What's going on?
Nothing much, just true crime. How about you?
I'm living, so that's probably better than your story.
Definitely.
Hey,
Definitely
that was
so.
nice.
It sounds like their ending is not going to be great. None of your stories have great endings.
No, I will be talking about the Florida lottery murder.
Ooh.
I just came back from Florida.
Dun,
Not
dun,
on the
dun.
lottery, and I was not murdered. But I can't say I didn't murder anybody.
Yeah, I don't think you were
I
in
can't.
this part of Florida. But anyways,
Okay, what is it?
this. So this story takes place on November 15th. Well, starts on November 15th, 2006 in Frostproof, Florida.
Oh,
It's about like an hour and a half from Tampa, so I guess a smaller town.
okay.
Abraham Shakespeare and coworker Michael Ford were heading towards Miami when they stopped at a Town Star convenience store. Before Ford entered the store, he asked Shakespeare if he could grab him anything. So Shakespeare only had like $5 in his pocket. That's what Wikipedia told me. So he asked Ford to buy him. Yes, he asked Ford to buy him 2 lottery tickets, and one of the tickets that Ford purchased for Shakespeare ended up being the winning ticket worth $30 million.
$30 million?
Yes. So
I could do a lot of things with $30 million.
Anyone can. Yes.
Yes.
So Shakespeare chose to take a one-time cash payment of $17 million instead of like.
Oh, what
Yeah.
a cut, man! Ugh, 17 million. Almost not worth it.
I think I would pass. You can barely afford everything with that.
With his winnings, he did buy a $1.1 million home in a gated community.
Very nice. Good job, Shakespeare.
Wikipedia also said he had 2 more kind of bigger purchases. I think one was a nice watch. I can't remember what the other one was.
Treat yourself. Good for you.
Yeah, but he was treating himself. About 3 months after he got his winnings, Ford approached Shakespeare about it. And I guess since Ford was the one to purchase the ticket, he like demanded that Shakespeare give him at least $1 million.
Well, dang.
A little payout. So in my head, Shakespeare was just like, hell no. And Ford was not happy with that answer at all and decided to take Shakespeare to court.
Why wouldn't you just ask a nicer way? Like, hey, man, we're friends. I bought the ticket.
Well, later on, you'll see Shakespeare seems like a cool guy, but this Ford just seems like an asshole. So yeah, you just take Shakespeare to court, sues him, claims that Shakespeare stole the lottery tickets out of Ford's wallet. It's kind of making up the story. But on October 19th, 2007, a jury deliberates for just a little over an hour and rules that Ford's story was fabricated and that Shakespeare, in fact, did not steal the lottery tickets. So nothing.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, nothing came out of it for Ford.
Because it's
You
kind of a
tried.
dry story. Here's $5. Here's a ticket I'm buying with $5.
Here you go.
Yeah.
Like even though Ford bought it, that wasn't his ticket.
It wasn't his money.
He asked if I could get you anything, and he said, yes, here's my money that I would like you to go into the store and purchase a card for me.
So if this were to happen to you, what would you do? Like say,
like if I bought the ticket with someone else's money?
Let's really flip it. You went into the gas station, I was like, hey, I want a Red Bull and a lottery ticket. By the way, I love Red Bull, the sugar-free kind. I drink 12 ounce or 8.4. So if anyone wants to send one, I will drink it. Just in case. And I win $33 million. But you actually handed the money over. Would you want any of my money?
Probably not.
I'd probably buy you dinner.
Can I chime in?
After this
Yeah.
story, probably
I'd be
not.
like, hey, since I did that and we are all friends, can we like go on a cool trip together?
Absolutely.
That's how I'd
Absolutely.
ask. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
I
I
wouldn't
wouldn't
want
just
any.
come banging on your door,
Absolutely
like, give me my money.
No.
Yeah.
If you want that, I'd probably give it to you if you didn't even ask me. Because I'd be like, hey, I have 33 million. Here's $1 million.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not $1 million.
You said take you out to dinner. It's like, let me buy you a steak house.
Maybe.
Not a steak.
What kind of business do you want? Mama's buying.
We
Right.
can start it.
Go on, I'm sorry. I don't like Ford.
Well, he's no longer in the story anymore, but Ford wasn't the only one
Bye.
interested in
Oh.
Shakespeare's winnings.
Never is.
So Shakespeare's friends, I think even like random people, kind of started hanging out with him more, trying to get closer to him and his money.
That's so sad.
Greg Smith, his boss and friend, was interviewed on 2020 and said that Shakespeare would just loan out money to people out of the goodness of his heart. So he is a really good guy. So he probably would have given Ford the money if maybe
He wasn't an asshole about it.
I guess.
Right. Damn.
Ford, take a lesson, okay? Just be nice next time.
But rarely were those loans he gave out paid back to him. So
Did that bother him?
a little bit. I'll get to that.
Probably adds
So
up.
I also thought that was interesting. In the 2020 episode, I watched that interview because Greg himself even borrowed $63,000 from Shakespeare.
And that's the boss.
Telling, yes, the boss,
Okay, got
the
it.
friend, saying that he was going through some bank issues. So Shakespeare was like, here's a little loan.
Okay.
A little
A
loan.
little loan.
To me, a little loan is $5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I count my nickels and pennies, guys.
Oh.
In October 2008, a woman named Doris, who goes by Dee Dee Moore, who has just some background of charges ranging from fraud to making false reports, had seen Shakespeare on the news and heard about all the people wanting to take advantage of him.
Okay.
So she sets up a date with him, contacts him, and meets with him, saying that she wants to write a book about what he's going through,
Oh, okay.
his situation.
I
Yeah.
see you, Dee Dee.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good way to slide on in there. I'm just
Well,
saying.
let's give her a benefit. Maybe she's really writing a book.
Okay, fine.
I'm choosing to believe she is not the murderer-e.
So I
Yeah.
guess she's interviewing him a lot. Well, I guess she's writing the book.
Okay.
So his financial situation is brought up many times. And Dee Dee tells him that she was or is a financial manager and can help him out with his debts and his money.
Okay.
And basically become like his financial advisor in a way.
That's very nice.
So they have
Too
this
nice.
benefit going on. So
Okay.
Shakespeare bought Dee Dee her own house as like an office. And then the book she was supposedly writing never was published. So I don't know.
You're kidding me. What?
Surprise, surprise. No idea
He
where it
buys
is.
her a house and she can't write a book.
She can't even write a poem for him. Jeez, oh man.
I know I've never written a book either, but I think if I had a whole house to myself and that's my only job,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
okay. I could write a short story. I don't know if I could do that either.
A
I don't know.
poem, something. A letter,
A
a
haiku?
note. Yeah.
You have money,
I want it. That's just not a haiku.
but it's secretly not me.
Yes.
Go on, I'm sorry.
Dee Dee also encouraged Shakespeare to start a business with her, naming it Abraham Shakespeare LLC, claiming that she could save like the remainder of the money he had not given away. So over a few months, she begins to slowly control like all of his assets. She transferred his home over to her business company called American Medical Professionals LLC. And on the 2020 episode I watched, it said that Dee Dee claimed to be running a nursing staffing agency, which kind of ties with the name. I thought it was really random.
Yeah.
I
So-
watched that.
What does her resume look like? She's a book writer, financial advisor, business owner, and knows about nursing.
Everything.
And owns her own
She
home.
dips her toes into everything.
She must be a Gemini. I'm a Gemini myself. We have a lot of interests.
I'm dead.
I'm choosing to believe she's great. Go on.
And then on Wikipedia, I didn't see this anywhere else, but it said in February 2009, Dee Dee bought her boyfriend a 2008 Chevy Corvette, costing over $70,000. She paid for the car with a cashier's check from her business account.
Mhm.
And then a month later, she treats herself to a 2009 Hummer, costing around $90,000.
So she bought him a car first and then herself?
Oh, so thoughtful.
She's a little selfless. Can we
Yeah,
give her...
I said she's so thoughtful.
Okay.
No.
I want to think she's nicer than what I'm thinking you're leading me to believe.
Well, in November
Great.
2009, Shakespeare's family becomes worried when they have not seen or heard from him since April of that same year.
Wait, in what month is this? September?
So we're in November right now.
Bruh.
How many months? How many months is that?
At least 4.
Okay.
Like 7, but...
More than 1, less than 1 million.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Okay.
Ooh, sorry.
So they're concerned, and Shakespeare's cousin Cedric files a missing persons report on November 9th, 2009.
Okay.
3 days later, police begin conducting interviews with Dee Dee, since obviously she's been the one closest to Shakespeare during this time.
Closest to Dexter's laboratory.
They want to know how she's come to acquire Shakespeare's assets.
Mm-hmm.
So Dee Dee tells police that she paid Shakespeare in cash for those. In another interview, police asked Dee Dee why Shakespeare was taken off of the Abraham Shakespeare account. I don't know when that happened. But Dee Dee claimed that Shakespeare did not want to pay taxes on the account and that he had left town because he was tired of everyone wanting his money. So as we'll go along, she kind of gives different answers in different interviews.
I can see why she thought that was a good idea.
Yes.
Stick to the same story. Rule number 1.
Police also discovered that the $1 million used to open the Abraham Shakespeare account was withdrawn days after Shakespeare's name was removed from the account.
Good.
And Dee Dee didn't really offer an explanation for it.
If you're stealing money, would you not just take it in smaller amounts? Because this seems like very obvious.
I don't know.
I'm
I've never
Okay,
taken
Dee Dee's
anyone's money before.
Dee Dee's the financial advisor, so
She knows.
She knows best.
Yeah.
Dee, I'm sorry to question you. I'm going to hire you to write a book about us, actually. Let me know when you're free.
So police obviously know something fishy is going on, but there's just not enough evidence that point to like foul play, so they can't really just take Dee Dee into custody. And then police had Dee Dee even more on their radars when a video clip of Dee Dee filming Shakespeare surfaced. I don't know how they found this, but in the video, I saw this on the 2020 episode, Dee Dee was just asking Shakespeare random questions, but it was just really weird. Like if he was going to miss his home, asking him where he wanted to go in the future. So she starts like throwing out places, like she says California. I think she gives like one more place in the United States, and then she's like, oh, we're international. So she starts naming off all these other places. It was really weird. So that, you know, had police even more looking at Dee Dee. 15 days after the missing persons report was filed, the Polk County Sheriff's Office finally declares Shakespeare missing. Dee Dee is interviewed by police yet again and tells them a slightly different story.
Dee Dee!
So she says that Shakespeare's assets went into her business account because he did not want to pay child support.
Okay.
Yeah.
Does he have any kids, actually?
He does. Yes.
Okay. Just checking.
Yes. No, that's
I want to make sure she
completely
checked.
fabricated.
Yeah.
That same month, Elizabeth Walker, Shakespeare's mother, receives a letter from someone claiming to be Shakespeare. His mother knows the letter couldn't possibly have come from him, though, because he was illiterate. He could not read or write.
Oh!
So his mom definitely knows that something shady is going on. Which I think if you're the closest one, you know, if you would know Shakespeare,
Like Dee Dee
should
should
that's
know
not
that.
gonna work.
She should know that.
We don't know this Dee Dee that sent the letter.
Right.
Let's
Okay,
not jump to conclusions.
I'm sorry. Whoever wrote this letter should know that. You are correct, Erin.
What? How do we know? Just play devil's advocate. How do we know he didn't use some of his money to buy himself some schooling?
Oh, or, you know, hire a friend to write it for him.
Oh, like Dee Dee in that book.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe she also wrote his stationery and letters.
Well, turns out Dee Dee was the one who sent the fake letter.
Dun, dun, dun!
All right, now we can assume.
In an attempt to convince Shakespeare's family that he was okay and had left town with the remainder of his money. Dee Dee also reached out to Greg Smith, to remember him, Shakespeare's boss, the friend.
Quote, unquote, friend.
Yeah. Telling him that his debts could be settled if he worked with her. So one day, Dee Dee was eating dinner at Cracker Barrel with Shakespeare's mother when Dee Dee's phone begins to ring. Dee Dee says it is Shakespeare and hands the phone to his mother. However, the caller on the other end was Greg pretending to be Shakespeare.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Greg said he thought it was okay to do it since it would make Shakespeare's mother feel better, which I think is kind of messed up.
That's like no.
Yeah.
That is some man logic, though. I can see him being like, not that I don't have a vote of confidence, but I can see how he got from A to C. Dee Dee is still screwed, but I can see how he got there.
But it's not looking good for him either.
It's not looking good for anybody.
Yeah. So all of these attempts to convince Shakespeare's mother and his family that everything was all right with their son didn't work out at all.
No.
Since police have been tracking Dee Dee and watching her every move, they end up getting a hold of Greg and questioning him. After being questioned, the police do confirm that Greg is not a suspect, but a victim of Dee Dee's manipulation.
Do you believe that?
No. I don't know.
I'll let you
just-
finish. I'm sorry. I'm just always curious
No.
to see like what you actually think about these.
Greg just doesn't seem like a good friend. Like in
Absolutely
my, yeah.
not. No.
I don't know why he went along with it, but whatever he thinks.
Like,
whatever.
I may not know exactly where my friend is, but I'm going to pretend to be him. That's where my mind is like, really?
To make his mom feel better.
Like,
But
you really don't know if your friend is alive, even alive, or international, or somewhere else, but you're going to pretend to be him. Like, that's kind of...
Okay, never mind on my man logic.
Yeah.
For some reason, I was thinking he knew, like maybe Dee Dee told him where he was. Like, oh, I know for sure he's international.
He
But
might.
he's
I
scared
think
to
she
call
might
mom.
have. She might have said it. I don't know what the
Yeah.
whole conversation was.
I would feel better.
Yeah.
Yeah. So police are talking to Greg. They decide to kind of put him to work as like a spy, scammer, see if he can gather any information from Dee Dee about Shakespeare since he's talking to her.
Mm-hmm.
On the 2020 episode, Greg said he recorded hours of conversations with Dee Dee. He actually made a recording device out of a Red Bull can. It was actually really cool to see. He like showed it.
Peep the Red Bull!
Red Bull!
So-
Red Bull! Sponsor us!
At least he was innovative.
Yeah.
And then he used it so his recording would be undetected. So it literally was like an open Red Bull can just sitting in the cup holder just while they were talking.
I don't hate him anymore. That's the level
Genius.
I'm trying to be. Yes.
Yeah. And then a police officer also trailed Greg each time he met to talk to her. So there was always someone kind of watching, seeing what was going on. On the 2020 episode, Greg claimed that at this point, while he was having these conversations with Dee Dee and recording them, he did not know that Shakespeare was dead. So in January of 2010, Dee Dee contacts Greg to see if he knows someone who would admit to police that they were the ones responsible for killing Shakespeare.
Oh, what?
Yeah. During these recorded conversations, Dee Dee talks about a drug dealer named Ronald, who she asks Greg to portray as the one who killed Shakespeare.
Whoa.
So at this point, Greg is like, okay, Shakespeare may actually be dead, and he convinces Dee Dee to tell him where Shakespeare's body is. So after revealing where Shakespeare's body was buried, Dee Dee asks Greg to help her move the body. So...
Why does she trust him so much? Because of $60,000?
You know
I
what?
don't
That's
know.
not enough to buy my silence. I don't know
No.
about you guys,
No.
but good lord.
Yeah, so she's really not suspecting anything from Greg. So she takes Greg, and then the information I read off of Wikipedia said there was also an undercover cop acting as just someone who said he would take the blame for Shakespeare's murder.
Oh.
For cash, Dee Dee said she would pay him.
Is there a market
I don't
for
know.
that?
Maybe.
LinkedIn, I'll take the fall.
So she takes these two guys to her home. She leads Greg and the undercover cop to her backyard where Shakespeare's body is buried.
Her backyard?
Yeah. And he's buried under a concrete slab.
Very
And-
inconspicuous.
Yes, police get Walmart security tape, which corroborates this. She was seen on video buying a tarp and other things that Greg told her would be needed to move the body.
So she bought a murder kit.
Well, she had
a
just
murder
to move,
movement kit.
yes, just
Yeah.
to move the body. She also hands
Smart.
Greg the .38 Smith and Wesson revolver that was used to kill Shakespeare. So she hands him the gun. So the same day, Dee Dee takes them to where Shakespeare's body is buried. Police gather Dee Dee in for yet another interview. During the interview, she spouts off different excuses again for why she has all of Shakespeare's assets and never actually paid for Shakespeare's home, like that Shakespeare had a drug problem. So during these interviews, Dee Dee blames the murder on Ronald the drug dealer, who she made up.
He's not real?
Yeah. And she apparently forgot that she asked Greg to pretend to be the drug dealer. And then at some point, she later realizes that Greg has been working with the police. Great.
Wow.
Giving them information. Dee Dee's ex-husband, James Moore, was interviewed by police, where they find out that back in April of 2009, so this is around the time Shakespeare's family kind of stopped hearing from him,
Okay.
Dee Dee asked James to dig and fill a hole on her property. She claimed that she needed a hole dug to bury concrete and trash. I don't know if that's a thing.
What?
That's what I do with my concrete and trash. I always just bury trash in my backyard. Is that not what you guys do?
Oh, totally, 100%. Yeah.
There's mounds back there.
Not that I've never heard of that, but
Great for the environment.
I'm sorry. It's called a burn barrel. That's above the ground.
I can tell your country.
It's in my roots.
Yeah, we had a burn barrel.
So James, being the nice ex-husband that he is, goes to Dee Dee's house and digs a hole in her backyard. once he digs the hole, Dee Dee just sends him away. At this point, police think this is when she shoots Shakespeare and kills him.
Whoa.
And then 2 hours later, James is called back to fill the hole.
2 hours.
Yes.
That is the
That's what they
nicest ex-husband I've ever heard of.
She's a little
Well-
manipulator.
Yeah.
Well, around that time, James was being paid to complete other yard work for Dee Dee. So when she asked him to do this, he really didn't think much about it at the time. He just
Okay.
thought it was extra work that she wouldn't have done.
Fair.
That's better. Okay. Yeah.
He also told police that he did not see or notice anything in the hole due to it being dark outside when he was filling it.
How deep was this hole?
I have no idea. I guess enough to where a body could not be seen if it was starting to get dark. I don't know.
What kind of flower beds did she say she was? Oh, wait, no, it was trash.
He also, maybe he thought there was just trash in there.
We don't know how she lives. That's true.
On January 29th, 2010, police find and identify Shakespeare's body at Dee Dee's property.
No.
4 days later, police take Dee Dee into custody. She is charged with first-degree murder, and she pleads not guilty to the charge.
Oh my god.
During her trial, she never took the stand, but she did have many outbursts in which the judge had to tell her to compose herself.
Whoa.
You can find the videos on YouTube if you want.
I'm very interested.
However, interesting though, there were no witnesses, and there was no DNA evidence that was found which could actually link her to the murder.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was interesting. So her lawyers claimed that the evidence was insufficient to convict her. So on December 10th, 2012, after a 3-hour deliberation, Dee Dee is found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison without parole.
Dang.
So basically they were just, even though there was no DNA evidence, they were really just going off of those conversations with Greg.
It was enough.
Recorded.
I mean,
had the
and she admitted it. She admitted to him
And the bodies in
on her backyard.
backyard.
Yeah.
Which
Who
you could
else
say
could it
maybe
be?
her ex-husband framed her, but she had the gun.
He's the innocent gardener. Don't blame him.
I do not know. And then at the end of the 2020 episodes, there was an interview with Dee Dee. If you look this up, it's crazy.
Oh, I'm watching
So
it.
she tells the reporter that she basically thinks people are complete idiots to think she had anything to do with the murder.
Of course.
Throughout the interview, she's just weirdly smiling and chuckling about the whole thing. I guess because she thinks her being in there is just so absurd that she thinks it's funny. She told the reporter that she receives mail from witnesses, and during the interview, she literally had stacks of them. She's kind of flipping through, but she would not show the reporter who the mail was from. He's literally I will show me it. I'll write the name down. We'll go and interview him.
Well,
She was yeah, she was just oh, no, I don't know if my lawyer would want me to. I don't know if that's allowed. So he's just oh, okay. And then the reporter, it gets crazy because the reporter even accuses her that the mail from those witnesses looks like it's written in her own handwriting. He literally yells at her. And then, yeah, so.
The same handwriting that went to Shakespeare's mom?
Maybe. I don't know.
God, Dee Dee. Get it together.
And then Dee Dee, the trial gets brought up and how she didn't take the stand. So she blames her lawyer for how the trial went, and that her lawyer would not let her take the stand, but her lawyer was briefly interviewed and said that she was the one who decided not to take the stand. So
to be fair, I've
he
heard
said,
of a
she
lot
said.
of people doing that. They don't know how well you're going to testify up there.
Yeah.
But they could grill you, and if you mess something up, even on accident, if you weren't
then it makes you
guilty-
look worse.
Right. Yeah.
So I don't think that's uncommon.
I don't know. I don't think it's uncommon.
But not conflicting stories like that.
I don't think it was going to save her because it sounds like she already
Probably not.
dug a pretty deep hole in her
Yeah.
yard and in her life.
Literally.
Yes.
Ooh.
So kind of a he said, she said
Yes.
type thing. So
Oh, Dee Dee.
regardless, she did not take the stand, but she blames her lawyer. And then in the interview, she said that she was a target for drug dealers. Again, that whole Ronald drug dealer guy situation she had fabricated. And then literally during the interview at one time, the reporter was like, do you understand how listening to you is bewildering? And I was just damn, you have bigger balls than I do. I don't think I would say that to anyone.
Especially a convicted murderer.
Yeah.
True.
But Dee Dee kind of just brushes him off and it's just whatever.
And she's having tea time? What do you...
Oh my god.
Oh,
Yeah. And at the end of the interview, she's taking all of those letters that she has and she give him one random name, but I don't think it was anything. I think it was just a first name too, and he was like, oh,
Was
okay.
the name John Doe?
I have
Is it
no
John?
idea. But yeah, Dee Dee is currently in jail, but she continues to claim her innocence to this day.
I believe her.
That is the story of the Florida lottery murder of Abraham Shakespeare.
Ooh.
What a name, too, man.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, Erin.
Yeah, thanks.
No problem. Your turn, Morgan. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right. This week, I am bringing to you Hellhounds.
Ooh.
I'm pumped.
Yes.
So, in the beginning of my research, I thought maybe there were other animals like a hellhound
Okay.
that maybe held the same type of, quote, powers as them, but really, they are their own breed, if you will, of supernatural beings. So, this is all about hellhounds.
Okay. Lay it on me.
Right. So hellhounds, they don't know their exact origin because I'll get into it a little bit deeper as we go, but there are kind of legends of very similar beings of a hellhound all around the world, kind of around the same time. They believe, though, that it probably started in Britain. But a Celtic legend is that the god of the dead, Arwen, kept hellhounds that were in search of human souls. So that's kind of like the big kicker of all of this. The thing with them all having, different places around the world having the same kind of idea as them, there are many looks to the types of hellhounds.
Okay.
So I'm going to read what the descriptions of them are. They are quite very differing depending, again, on where you are.
Are any of them ones that I would want to adopt from a puppy store?
No.
Okay. Then I am sufficiently scared.
Yes.
Thank you.
So, all right. So some of the ways that they look may be contradicting of each other, but again, it's all pretty spoopy. So they can come in colors of gray or black, typically.
Okay.
They can come as a solid mass or a shadow. So take that as you will.
Which,
yeah.
I don't think either one of those sounds like what I want.
No. I mean, both dark figures of a big giant wolf animal coming at you.
Oh, so not comforting or protecting.
No.
Good.
Right.
Sign me up.
Right. Their eyes are typically glowing, either of like an orange or a red.
Yet again, so soothing.
However, they also can come across as headless or having one eye.
What?
So they're headless, but you can see their eyes.
No. Those are the three types. So
okay.
Headless or.
Yeah. Yes.
Hard or.
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Yes, I'm so sorry.
I'm not in the mood to adopt anymore.
They have a head and then they don't have a head. No, it's these are the many.
The only hellhounds I know, which probably isn't very true, is just from Supernatural, but you never see them.
Yeah. Additionally, these lovely little critters, they have an odor, typically of rotting flesh.
What?
Or rotten eggs. Yeah.
Oh. We should know they're coming.
Who else is craving breakfast?
And that's Erin, thank you for saying that, because they also are silent. So when they're walking or coming towards you, if it's shadow or if it's of, an actual solid mass coming towards you, there's no sound. And that was very commonly reported for wherever you were in the world. It's silent coming towards you, but you can smell it before you see it. Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
I know. They are very large. So they said it's bigger than a dog, but more like a wolf size. And they can vanish before your eyes.
Like a dire wolf size?
Yes.
Because are wolves that big either?
No, it's more like they said a lot of people compare them to werewolves, but to be honest, like werewolves can be, from what I've seen in movies and shows, is like in Harry Potter, the werewolf that is seen is humongous, but then there's other shows where I see and it's kind of just more like a dire wolf size, something of that nature.
So it's like a big dog.
It's a big dog. But again, they can vanish right before your eyes. So you see it, it may be walking towards you, you can't hear it, and then suddenly, like, poof, it's gone.
And you smell it.
You smell it. One thing that is very common throughout all of the legends around the world is that they are very territorial. Okay. So that is why they come across as aggressive or like that they're coming towards you. The reason for this is that it is where the worlds of death and the living are the closest. So the veil between the world of the living and the world of the dead are the closest. That's what they're, quote, guarding. So that's why that's what they're being territorial about. So maybe if they're coming towards you, they want you to back away, and the second you do, boof, they're gone. So just interesting.
I can accept that.
Yeah.
just gotta leave. Okay?
Just leave them alone.
You don't gotta go home. You just can't stay here.
Yes. And again, off of the territorial aspect of this, they believe that the legend of the Hellhounds first started because originally when cemeteries were first made, who knows when that was a thing? I sure don't. But they would say that the first soul buried there guarded the cemetery for eternity. So
That stinks.
originally,
Talk about jobs you don't want.
right,
Well, yeah, you're just stuck.
bottom
here.
of the pile.
Like,
But I don't want to be
sorry.
first.
Right.
Yeah.
So instead of it being a human soul, they started burying a dog.
No.
Yeah. So they also say, though, that the legend is that even if it's the first soul, it's the first human soul. So they say the dog thing may not even be really real, but however, it's to give the last or the first human soul a companion.
I have mixed feelings.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Continue.
I know.
I don't like it, but I don't hate it.
Yeah, I know. I did learn all of that from the DEParanormalResearchGroup.com, and it was all an article by Robin N. Strom.
Thank you, Robin Strom.
Yeah, thank you, Robin. So, like I mentioned earlier, there's different variations of this creature around the world, and they have 6+ names from around the world. I literally couldn't pronounce half of them, so I'm not even going to try. But yeah, so again, like we said, it may have started in Britain. They're called something there. It may have started in the Celtic legends. It's called something else. That it's
I'm
all.
kind of bummed you didn't even try.
I can't.
You try one.
No,
Just
I
for
didn't.
us?
I didn't want to disappoint you.
Oh,
so
okay.
it's a hellhound. That was it. I'm just kidding.
You would never disappoint us.
Oh.
Never.
Oh, you guys are so sweet.
Unless you don't read my Instagram post at the wedding.
Yeah.
People don't forget.
I will
You'll be
read
judged for it forever.
all posts you send me. I will read.
Thank you.
Another Harry Potter reference. Some say that Fluffy, the 3-headed dog from the first movie, is a hellhound.
Oh.
Yeah, I didn't read any more about the weaknesses of a hellhound, but in Harry Potter, it's obviously music kind of put Fluffy into a trance of sleep. So yeah, interesting.
I would be happy. Did you guys ever see the new Jumanji?
I did not.
The second one?
No, just the first one.
Oh, yes.
Well, in it, The Rock is like this. He's The Rock, obviously.
Yeah.
And it's
he
like
plays him.
Yes. They just put him in different clothes.
Yeah.
And it says weaknesses. I have no weaknesses.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'd like to imagine that's a hellhound.
Pretty much.
Wait, no, I wouldn't. That's really scary.
Oh my god, a rock-sized hellhound.
With the eyebrows.
Right. So again, they're all over the world. They can be territorial. They guard the cemeteries. There's lots of different aspects of them. You kind of don't want to cross paths with one. But before I leave on a very spooky, sinister note, if you will, I did want to end on a little bit of a higher note, which is there are some animals that bring good luck.
Yay.
So I wanted to bring those into focus.
Okay.
So the pig is known as good luck and fortune. A crane is for longevity. A cricket, which we heard earlier, is wealth and luck. Woo! Like Mulan, like, you want one lucky bug. Yeah.
I'm choosing to believe that cricket means we will have wealth and luck with all of our listeners.
Listen to us.
Surely by now we have, 4?
At least.
I'm predicting 4.
Well, guess what? There's 3 of us, so at least one.
At least one more.
All we need is 1.
And then, like I said, I'm going to end on kind of a spooky note. So,
oh no.
From the mysteriousuniverse.org, this was an article or a story written by Brent Schwaner in August of 2018.
Okay.
So, and it's in Michigan.
Mm.
We had this really strange dog creature that would hang around the property. I say dog creature because this thing was too big to be a stray dog. It had very pronounced red eyes. I'm not saying it was a werewolf or a dog man, but it was very werewolf-like.
Absolutely. Nope.
The dog would frequently stalk the edge of the woods on our property in the day. It seemed to have no fear. My uncle would yell or throw things towards it and try to scare it off, but it would simply rear up on its hind legs like a ram and charge for a short distance.
No.
Jeez.
Spooked.
We would frequently find dead chickens or rabbits after thunderstorms. We knew it was the dog thing because it would leave huge, wet paw prints in the mud and claw marks on the window ledges. Sometimes we would find the screens ripped from our screen doors and windows.
No.
It would never right out attack us, but it did seem to enjoy stalking us and taunting us.
I guess in my head I thought that if you see a hellhound, it would just be like one person who sees it, but that's
Right.
really interesting that I guess multiple family members
Yeah.
saw that.
And in the
Ooh.
daytime, so you can't even attribute
Yeah.
it to anything
I
else.
think like reading a couple of the stories, I think that's why that one stuck out to me so much, is that like a couple of stories I read is like they're alone on a road at night and you see it up ahead, or you can like see it coming out of the woods, and like this broad day, like wild.
Because at night, it
yeah.
could be anything.
Yeah, it
But-
literally could be a wolf.
In the daytime, it is what it is, and it's terrifying.
It's a dog wolf creature. What he said. So,
Mhm.
so that is all I have for you on Hellhounds this week. I hope it was a little bit spooky, and maybe
Ooh.
look over your shoulder at night, maybe when you're near the woods.
And it ripped the screens off.
Yeah.
No,
Mm-mm.
no,
Mm-mm.
thank you.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
Well, thank you, Morgan, but no, thank you.
Yeah.
You're quite welcome. All right, guys. So that is all we have for you for Sinister Sunrise this week. Hope this was enough Sinister Sunshine for your day. If you want to follow us, do so via Instagram. It is Sinister Sunrise Podcast. Or send us an email of your scary stories, dreams, true crime if it happened to you. Let us know. It is Sinister Sunrise Podcast at gmail.com.
Thanks.
Thank you guys.